Hello, and welcome to the History of Bad Ideas, podcast number 2. I'm your co-host, Jeff Now.
And I'm your co-host, Jason Brigger.
And today we are here to talk about stuff.
Just stuff?
Just stuff.
That's pretty original. First thing we want to get into is the listener feedback. Thank you, everybody, for downloading us last week. The numbers were better than we ever expected, so appreciate it. For everybody that put us out there, shared us on their Facebook page, pretty much anywhere, any social network site, I appreciate it. Jeff appreciates it. And just pretty much keep doing that to get our listenership up. We appreciate it. The first thing on the listener feedback on our Facebook page of History Bad Ideas podcast is from Kevin. He wanted to know about Nicolas Cage's amazing acting abilities.
He has none.
I beg to differ. Season of the Witch.
I think you're helping my argument. He has none.
What about The Rock? Welcome to The Rock.
I think you're helping my argument.
That was actually Sean Connery, not Nicolas Cage. I actually watched The Rock 2 weeks ago. It was on TBS for the 18th time that day. And it is an awesome, awesome movie.
It's an awful movie. I mean, it just drives me batty. I can't watch that.
I will say, I think I was 16 or 17 when it first came out. Saw it in the theater, loved it. And then after every viewing, it gets progressively worse. And the car chase scene in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
It reminds me of Family Guy when there's a car chase and they all go, okay, get your fruit stands out. Everybody get your fruit stands out. It is the amount of destruction that they do on that street has to be in the millions upon millions. And then we're going to let Sean Connery just go help us out still.
Oh, yeah. Why not? Bad guys get out of jail to help the good guys all the time. Only in the movies.
Is there any good Nicolas Cage film?
We might have to hold on that maybe in a future episode for our top 5.
Top 5 great Nicolas Cage
films?
films?
Top 5 Nicolas Cage films that don't suck. So that might be something to look forward to in the future.
Ghost Rider?
I said that don't suck.
Moving on, from Doug. He wants to know if Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be a bust or a blockbuster.
I think it's going to do well. I think it's been building enough throughout the other movies that are doing well that people are going to tune in to see what it is. I think people are going to show up. I mean, is it going to break Avengers numbers? No. But, I mean, it will, I think, fit easily into the storyline, and I think it will drive viewers to the theaters.
I'll be honest, I don't think even Avengers 2 is going to break Avengers numbers.
Yeah, I'll probably agree with that.
As much as Age of Ultron might be amazing, I don't think anything's going to beat Avengers in the Marvel Universe right now. I think Guardians of the Galaxy has potential to be a huge blockbuster. I think the only thing that might beat that next year this year actually now, is Captain America coming out in April. Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier. And that movie, just based on the trailers, looks amazing. But like I said, Guardians of the Galaxy, I think the toys are going to be huge with the kids. Huge.
Well, who doesn't want a raccoon or a walking tree as a toy?
I'm serious. That lends itself to kids' toys.
Oh, it does.
And I may even pick up a squirrel.
But not the walking tree.
Not the fucking walking tree. Even though Sleepy Hollow soothed me on it. But yeah, I think the potential for Guardians of the Galaxy is out of this world. No pun intended.
Pun intended.
Bum, bum, bum. And then Nick asked if which one was better, Transformers or GoBots. I don't even think there's a question there.
Yeah, there's not even a discussion.
GoBots.
Yeah, you continue to believe that. Just because those were the toys you got because the Transformers were too nice at the time.
Well, off air, I've told the story many times that my grandmother would get us these these robot toys for Christmas, and I think they were Walgreens special, and the one, and I still remember, it turned into a ball. That's all it turned into, was a ball. Another one, I never figured out what it was supposed to turn into. It was just a glob of plastic. and I kept asking her for Transformers, and I never got them.
But you would have accepted GoBots at that time.
At that point, I would have taken GoBots above the Walgreens special. And then I think that's about it on the listener feedback. Anything you want to add on that, Jeff?
I just want to let people know that if they have questions, to go ahead and get us at the Facebook, the History of Bad Ideas podcast on Facebook. And if we like what we see, we might go ahead and read it on the on our podcast, and we'll even throw your name out there so everyone will know where it's coming from.
Just like Kevin, Doug, and Nick.
Just like Kevin, Doug, and Nick.
I don't know, that Nick guy sounds shady. He doesn't even spell his full name. It's N-I-C. Niche? I don't know. Okay, moving on. We got Geek News coming up.
Geek News.
That was beautiful. The biggest thing that we have right now that just broke on Friday is Jesse Eisenberg is Lex Luthor. Yes, I'm sorry, but the kid from Facebook is now Lex Luthor.
I don't know, the kid from Zombieland is Lex Luthor.
I'm going Facebook. Social network.
Yeah, you mean the guy who got nominated for many awards because of his ability in a Facebook movie, a Social Network.
My question is Lex Luthor just going to mumble the whole way through?
Well, he is Jesse Eisenberg, or at least was once known as the poor man's Michael Cera.
Facebook. That's him.
But, it remains to be seen. I
do not want to get, the internet chat rooms and, bitch and complain about him being Lex Luthor before he even has a chance at it, kind of like Ben Affleck with Batman, which Jeff would disagree on.
Well, yeah, we'll just pass over that topic.
I think Affleck's going to actually do a good job. I don't think the movie is going to be good. Every casting note, I get more and more worried about it. And I appreciate that they're going a younger version of Lex, and I think that's smart. Just like last week when I was saying that Michael Douglas was cast as Hank Pym, I was worried about he would die soon before they could make a sequel. I don't have to worry about that with Jesse Eisenberg being Lex Luthor. But if you take Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, and then Jesse Eisenberg, I'm not scared that Lex Luthor could beat them. And I understand he's intelligent. I appreciate Lex Luthor's abilities in the comic book. I think he's well written. Even if you put him in a robotic suit, I'm not scared of Jesse Eisenberg.
But, you got to give these people at least a chance to prove what they can do. I mean, the reason I don't particularly care for Ben Affleck is I've seen what he can do. So I know how he is as a masked superhero. I'm hoping that he actually does better than my expectations. I'm hoping he pulls out his Joker moment that
Heath
Ledger pulled out.
Hopefully he doesn't die right after it.
Yeah, that would help. But yeah, you're worried about the old people dying.
Like I said, when I saw the news, I was just stunned. Out of left field, I've heard Bryan Cranston was up for it. Joaquin Phoenix, if he wasn't off the reservation somewhere, I don't know where. I've heard a couple different ones. Cranston, I think, will have hit it out of the ballpark.
Well, that's because you're just used to seeing him bald.
That is true.
But he's a great actor, so I think he would be able to pull it off. But
of course, he's also in Godzilla too, Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, well, we'll skip over that one too. So is Jesse Eisenberg his Lex Luthor? Is he going to be bald? Is he going to start with hair and become bald, or is he going to be bald at the beginning, or are they not even going to go bald for this storyline?
To be like Charles Xavier in X-Men First Class?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. I could see possibly the radiation from kryptonite at the end make him go bald. I could see that. Or I could see him just not being able to grow hair and they just, right off the bat, they have him bald. The biggest problem is I don't have an issue going outside the box to cast somebody like that for Lex Luthor. My biggest issue is the surrounding cast is going to dwarf him in terms of just physical screen time. On the screen, it's going to look like a little boy going against Superman and Batman. And I know Lex Luthor's not going to be throwing punches or anything like that. Yeah, I get that, but
he fights with his brain. He doesn't physically altercate with these people, if that's the proper way of saying that. But yeah, he uses his schemes, and I don't know. Jesse Eisenberg can play a schemer. We saw that in The Social Network.
I like said, I'm just worried to point bluntly, but like I said, we'll see. I think it has a chance to be one of the worst comic book movies ever. I also think it could be the one that shocks the hell out of everybody too. I think he's either boom or bust. I don't think there's an in between with it.
Well, we'll see. I think he'll do a good job. I mean, yeah, I just found out today when I saw you posted it, and I'm like, oh, Jesse, and I'm like, I'm trying to figure out which way Jason's going with this.
I was a little fired up today about it. I've calmed down, and I think part of the reason I calmed down is because I was not a huge fan of Man of Steel. I don't have that much invested in the universe of Man of Steel right now. The only downside is that as much as I love Batman, it's going to bring him down.
Yeah, that's this universe of Man of Steel that you're not all that vested in is also, though, going to bring Batman into it and the rest of the Justice League and the DC universe. So this is where they're starting their flagship for their entire universe is based off of the Man of Steel universe. And we all know how most people feel about Man of Steel.
Which I will say, though, looking at, not to switch gears completely, but speak of Batman, I was watching the last Dark Knight Rises, again, for like the 80th time. And I will have to say, as much as I loved that movie the first 2 times I saw it in the theater, I've kind of waned on how great it was. There's been a lot of plot holes with it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think everybody's bitched about, Bruce Wayne's parents get killed, I'm going to go out for revenge. My girlfriend gets killed, I'm going to quit for 8 years. I'm just going to take a backseat to this.
Whatever.
My parents is one thing, but that was my girlfriend.
Well, he had time, though, to digest his parents. His parents died when he was like 12. He didn't become Batman until he was in his 20s.
Well, physically, I don't think he could beat people up at the age of 12 years old.
Well, if he would have taken those self-defense classes, then maybe he would have been.
I'm going to disagree on that. But, like I said, as much as I love Batman, as much as I've loved Dark Knight Rises, it definitely has waned in the multiple viewings. Still a great movie. Still liked it. I can't get Bane's voice out of my head ever. And, but like I said, the Batman Superman, like I said, I just hope it just doesn't keep destroying Batman. Please don't. Please
All
don't.
right. Well, I think we can move on from Jesse Eisenberg.
The next thing is my voice changed there. Variety reported on Tuesday that the Winter Soldier's directors Anthony and Joe Russo are expected to return for the 3rd installment of Captain America, even though the movie has not been officially greenlit yet.
Yes, they're going to make the movie.
Yes.
I mean, this next one is going to do, even if it does 2/3 of what Captain America did, that's going to be enough to get them going, and the movie's going to do better than that. The movie actually looks cool or awesome, as some people have said. Some people being me.
I think visually it looks beautiful. I love the first Captain America. I liked how they took it in the 1940s.
Yes.
My favorite line probably of any comic book movie is, "Why do you want to kill Nazis?" "I don't want to kill anyone, sir. I just don't like bullies." Beautiful line. Speaks to everything that Steve Rogers is about.
Yes.
And I have nothing but high hopes for this one. Like I said, I think it's going to just be a complete boom for the studio. And I think it might even be the second highest grossing one that they do.
Wow.
Right below Avengers.
Wow. Okay. I don't think it'll beat the first one, or maybe because just the inflation of the ticket prices have gone up. But for some reason, I don't think it will get as many people back. I hope I'm wrong, because I honestly, like I said, think it looks cool, awesome, all those other adjectives that come to mind. But I'm just not sure it's going to beat, Captain America: The First Avenger.
And as much as Batman vs. Superman is throwing every superhero and bad guy into their film, and I get worried about that, Captain America's throwing every bad guy and superhero into this one, and I'm not worried about it. Barack the Leaper is in it, or Batroc, or what's his name? Barack?
I don't know.
He has a really red or purple outfit,
Ooh.
and he has the big handlebar mustache in the comic books. He's in it. Crossbones is in it. The rumor is that Robert Redford plays a bad guy in it, even though he's in the one thing that I saw floating around on the internet was that he's Red Skull. He's a new.
Oh. Okay, I haven't heard that rumor.
That's the thing that I saw.
I know he's in it. He looks like he's a government agent.
He's one of the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., one of the head agents, or leaders, whatever it is. And then you also got Falcon, who looks great. I thought the uniform was amazing on it. I hope his bird shows up.
Go Bird.
His Falcon? Do you know much about Falcon?
I know Falcon,
okay,
but
I'm just checking.
I don't know what kind of feedback you wanted from. I hope his bird shows
up. It's a great
up.
bird. It just lands on his arm. He's awesome. And they got Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow.
Yeah, you can't go wrong putting Scarlett Johansson in tight clothes.
In anything. As long as she doesn't talk that much. Because her Russian accent is not there.
Yeah, they should just get rid of the Russian accent and just say, I'm working on my American accent.
I'm a spy, can do that. And then you also got Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury. But like I said, I'm really looking forward to that and Guardians of the Galaxy. I think I might be even looking more forward to those than Avengers 2. Because I'm worried about Scarlet Witch. Next thing is Deadline is reporting that Guy Ritchie is considering in getting into a 6-part King Arthur fantasy series for Warner Brothers in terms of directing it. This is straight from Deadline. The genesis of the project comes from the mind of Joby Harold, who did Awake and Edge of Tomorrow, and who has already written the script for the first movie. Little is known about the project, but reportedly reintroduced the magical elements of Arthurian. How do you say that? Arthurian. There you go. Lore. After prior films sought to tell a more realistic version of the legend. Unquote.
Well, the problem is I know what they're complaining about on the prior films sought to tell a more realistic version.
Breckheimer!
But I really liked that version. The King Arthur with Clive Owen as King Arthur, and I know you liked that art. That
extremely, yes.
Yeah. So it's like it to me. I love King Arthur, and I'm looking forward to anything that comes out with him, especially if it's done with care and respect. I mean, it's not slapped together just hoping to, bank off a craze. As long as it's done to make the legend, central instead of just doing it
half-ass.
Thank you. But it's like, oh, please don't tell me you're dogging Antoine Fuqua's King Arthur.
I hope it's better than First Night.
Yeah, that one was bad. So
does not count as King Arthur.
Yeah. We'll ignore First Night. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about when you're throwing that in. To kind of, we'll just get these guys together and the great actors that, we really don't have a story to tell that's worth telling.
And you and I saw The Last King Arthur with Clive Owen at the movies, and we both loved it, like you said.
Yeah.
I love Keira Knightley in it. And outside of the movie, I liked her. But, it's not even... can they make it good? Is there even a market for it anymore? Especially if we're talking a 6-part series. Now, say they combine them to three movies even. Because it's a 6-part King Arthur fantasy series is what they say.
Yeah, but I mean, this is for television. This is
movies.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, for the WB, I shortened it. It's for the Warner Brothers movies.
Warner Brothers movies.
So it's movies.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was a televised.
No, this is for the movie.
6 parts might be too much to ask for.
That's what I'm thinking. Now, if it was TV, I'm all for that. Yeah. Everything I saw online was for a movie. And even if it is, say even make one King Arthur movie, is there really an audience out there? I mean, they're making a Tarzan movie. And this could even be a future top 5. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think Tarzan's relevant anymore.
King Arthur, I think, would be relevant. I mean, when you're looking at how popular Game of Thrones has gotten over the past 3 years.
It's true.
And this is, fitting into that thing. So they are jumping on a bandwagon. Let's go back to the old swords and sorcerer type stuff, and King Arthur has already a built-in following.
It's a small following, though. You think,
but if it's done right, they can attract more people and it can be bigger. And I mean, it's
look up how much King Arthur did. Can you do that?
Well, yeah, that didn't do a whole lot, but
I'm kind of intrigued by that. Because when did that come out? You think 2005, maybe?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I feel like it made maybe half its money back. My only question, you have a good point with sorry, not Lord of the Rings, but with Game of Thrones, finding an audience for it, that's possible. And that is a good idea. But my issue is, like, they're making a Tarzan movie. Nobody cares. You saw it with John Carter of Mars, which, sorry, it's not John Carter of Mars, it's John Carter. And it bombing. And you just worry. And I'm all for, reimagining characters and everything like that, especially early literary ones. I just worry that you're not going to find an audience for it anymore. And then after a while, you're like, well, how many times are we going to try to redo it? I mean, does anyone think Tarzan's going to make $100 million at the movies theater?
Oh, well, yeah, I think Tarzan and King Arthur have a different type of audience. I mean, Tarzan is, I think, a real specific, and it's 2004. I'm not finding the box office gross here. There we go.
It's 1 year off.
It grossed. Okay, they're giving me the opening weekend in Italy.
How much did it make in Italy?
It was about $3 million in Italy.
Oh, there's your fun fact for the day. Go back to your office. Tell them King Arthur made $3 million in 2004 in Italy.
Okay, I don't understand why they're why he ain't giving me a total gross. They're giving me grosses for every country for every weekend, but not a total gross.
What about Norway?
Let's see. I can't find Norway.
Okay.
It was a $120 million budget, so that's quite a lot.
I kept thinking that it made about half of that at the box office in America.
Well, the problem was they greenlit the movie to be a serious, rated R, come out in the holiday, gritty, bloody, and then I think it was Disney, had a problem with getting a summer tentpole movie. I think something had to be pushed back, so they pushed this forward, moved it up, and so now all of a sudden it had to become a PG-13 summer movie.
It was released as PG-13?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the video is the director's cut. That was the one thing. Yeah, the DVD. Antoine Fuqua, who directed it, said he agreed to it as long as when they released it on video, they gave the director's
final
cut.
say.
Yeah, he had the final say.
And that might be because obviously we saw it in theaters, but everything I've seen since then has been on DVD, so that's why I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Now there have been a couple of scenes added either for the DVD, or I think they were added, reshot for the movie to change some of the stuff that wasn't exposed or during the regular run of the movie, because they had to cut some things, especially a lot of the violence. The blood is like cut back. The decapitations they're not there in the theatrical release. But I think what was released on DVD was much better. But I mean, I don't know. I love the movie, and I like the King Arthur legend. And the problem with the movies is why I'm kind of excited about a 6-part story is you can get into it instead of having to tell the entire story in a 2 to 3 hour movie. You can go ahead and tell parts of the story. And I mean, if you read some of the stuff, the Once and Future King and all these other books about King Arthur, not like I've read all of these, but I mean, I've enjoyed what I have read. But whether there's enough for 6 movies, that I'm not sure about. When I was reading this, I was thinking it was going to be television, and that makes perfect sense to me.
And you may be right. After read it, I mean, everything online said 6-part series. I saw Guy Ritchie. Yeah. It could be a TV series. But everything I saw was a movie, but it probably would be better for a TV series. I'll give you that. The last King Arthur book I read was a Choose Your Own Adventure, King Arthur's Court.
The kid in King Arthur's Court?
It wasn't even the kid, it was just King Arthur.
All right. Snakebite?
Snakebite, you died. I didn't put my finger off that page.
I can move it. I can still go back.
The other news bit that I just put in there because I just love John Noble. According to Deadline.com, John Noble is back as a series regular on Sleepy Hollow. He did a 3-episode arc the first season, and as we discussed last week, he is now one of the horsemen of the apocalypse, and I thought that was great. Did a little research after last week. And I kept telling my wife that I kept feeling like Sleepy Hollow is very Fringe-like. And I came to find out that I think 2 of the guys that did Fringe were doing Sleepy Hollow. Not the main creators, but some of the writers in that. And I just had to throw in the John Noble news of the week. So I think every week we're going to have a little side thing just for John Noble.
John Noble news of the week.
There you go. And
you know he was in the Lord of the Rings, didn't you?
I did not know that.
Yeah, you did. I told you that last week.
Everything you mentioned about the Lord of the Rings, I just get rid of out of my head. A little funny thing on Sons of Anarchy, Bobby, the Elvis impersonator, long hair and everything. I was watching Batman Begins last night. He's the crooked cop on it in Batman Begins.
Yes, he is.
I never knew that.
No,
he's the one that Batman lifts up in the alleyway and drops 6 times over.
He's the guy that steals the Middle Eastern guy's food there.
Yes,
or whatever.
on the food cart.
The falafel or whatever.
Yes.
But please, my kids have to eat. Don't they like falafels?
And that is actually the line, because I saw it last night. Well played. And then finally, comic book news. Nightwing is ending after issue 30. I think that's in 2 months. And 2 or 3 months. And then in the Forever Evil miniseries comic book, they unmasked him, and everybody knows him as, Dick Grayson.
You can say Dick on the podcast.
Thank you, Jeff.
You have my permission.
I like Richard. But they unmasked him for the world to see. I don't know who knew him before when they unmasked him, like Jeff said. Go ahead, Jeff. Rant.
And we'll take off the mask and it's some guy. Anybody know him? Kind of youngish.
He's a white brunette, brown eyes. Yeah. Is that cut down on anybody?
Yeah. All right. So, anybody? I mean, I don't know. Has he ever seen Dating Paris Hilton? Do we know?
Do we know anybody? The issue is that in Forever Evil, it was cool that they unmasked him in front of the TV audience, and in the comic book world, everybody knows him, and they said his name, I believe, in the book. Oh, it's Richard Grayson, Dick Grayson. But the problem is, nobody really knows him in the world because, he's not like he's a famous person. Everybody knows him as Bruce Wayne's ward. And then it goes back to, how do you not piece this together that if he's Nightwing, Bruce Wayne is Batman? Let's bring it together here, people.
Oh, Dick Grayson is Nightwing. Oh, we figured that out. Well, what do we know him from? He's only known because he's Bruce Wayne's ward. So, does Bruce know about this? Is Bruce in on this? Is Bruce his mentor?
All good questions that everybody would be talking about.
I mean, Lois Lane would figure this stuff out.
She did a Man of Steel. Government couldn't. The question is, is he dead at the end of this series? Nightwing 30, you think they kill him?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I was never a big fan of the old New 52 because it changes everything around. I mean, actually, Dick Grayson was one of my favorite characters in the DC universe, but it got hard to start caring for some of these people when you just changed everybody's backstory on a blink of an eye. So I kind of lost interest. So, honestly, one of my favorite characters in the DC universe, and I honestly don't really care if they do kill him off.
I'm a big Nightwing fan. Out of the 87 comic books of Batman and his family on the market right now, he is probably my favorite one, besides Detective Comics and Batman. The problem is he's been around since 1940. Not that that's not a reason to kill him. I'm not saying that. My thing is, though, okay, we're going to kill him. We just killed Damian Wayne, which was Robin that Bruce Wayne, was like a couple 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Of course, Damian Wayne got better, but I don't think anybody really cared. They were kind of shocked, but...
I mean, they were shocked because it's tough. It's always a shock when you do kill people, especially when you're supposed to not be bringing them back. So death is supposed to be final now. So if they kill him... But, I mean, Damian, like I said, no one really got to know. When he started, everyone hated him. He was like the brat. I mean, Bruce Wayne's love child. Woo!
Who was trained by assassins, 10 years old. Don't do the math. DC doesn't want you doing the math. Wait, does that make Bruce Wayne 40? No. He's 35. What? And the funny thing is that with Damian Wayne, though, everybody hated him, and every fan of the comic books hated him. And then they killed him. They're like, oh, we liked him. What the hell? Why'd you kill him? The other idea is that there's a background character, Harper Rose, of probably a teenage girl. I think she's 20 or so in the books. They just introduced her in the New 52, and there was little pictures going around online that she's going to take over as the new Nightwing. She's been helping Batman out. Batman's somewhat training her. She has more. She's very technical on her aspect. So everybody kept thinking she was going to be the new Robin. Now it looks like she's going to be the new Nightwing. The other idea is, instead of Dick Grayson dying, is he's going to fake his death and go underground, so that way he can reemerge as, I don't know, Nomad or somebody.
He can come back as the new Nightwing, and we won't suspect that it's Dick Grayson because he's dead. That's it.
Please don't.
I'm the new Nightwing.
So that is your news, and you are now partially informed. Next thing is... There you go. Next thing is Hidden Gems. That got some good feedback last week, so we're going to continue that. Jeff, you got anything on Hidden Gems?
I would like to give a boost to the YouTube channel, the Geek and Sundry YouTube channel. That's the place where you can find the Guild. I know is pretty popular. Most people, I think, was listening to this probably have heard of it. But besides the Guild, they have Space Janitors, which I just recently got into, which is...
I've never heard of that.
It's pretty much the Star Wars type universe from the view of the janitors on the Death Star.
So it's Kevin Smith's idea in Clerks.
Yeah, pretty much.
I like it.
But
Good for them.
They do it, and it was pretty funny, pretty amusing. I enjoy that. And Geek and Sundry also has Tabletop. They're getting towards the end of season 2. Tabletop. Will Wheaton with guest stars playing different tabletop board games, card games. Just sit around and just to show everyone these games to get people to go out and play more. I get people, some actors, a lot of internet personalities to play the games, and they highlight a different game each episode. And I mean, it's real enjoyable and fun. And then they've got other little podcasts or other shows or whatever that they do on there. There's a show where there's people that care, where there's a guy who will each week or whatever they televise a Magic the Gathering game. But you don't have to watch that if you don't want. But I'm really boosting this for Tabletop and my new favorite, Space Janitors. Looking forward to season 3 on Space Janitors now.
Has it been, I mean, obviously it's 2 seasons. I mean, is it from America? Is it Canadian, Space Janitors?
I'm thinking it's American, most of the stuff they do. I mean, they're 5-minute episodes, 13 episodes for a season. So, they do 5 minutes a week. They put it up on YouTube. And there's a lot of those shows out there, and this is one that I think is worth throwing a thumbs up to. And if someone listening to this happens to stumble on that, that would be excellent.
Okay. Speaking of Magic, they're making a new movie about it.
They're making a movie on Magic the Gathering?
Yes, they are.
I'll be second in line.
And you know what, Jeff? I will go see that.
Yes, you will.
I will go see that with you just for the podcast. Just to open my mind up to it.
Well, I'll just put it this way. It can't be as bad as, In the Name of the King.
Which they made a sequel to. And I think Dolph Lundgren is the star of that. Look that up too, Jeff. Name of the King 2. I just liked in the first Name of the King with, who was that, Jason Statham?
Yeah.
I liked how they didn't even give him a name. He was just Farmer. Hello, Farmer. It's like you couldn't even give him a name like Rick, Bill.
Well, he doesn't need to. Let's see. In the Name of the King, 2 worlds.
Oh, yeah.
Dolph Lundgren and a bunch of names that I don't recognize.
Ray Liotta in it?
It's not. He's not in the top, 15 actors listed on IMDb.
Well, he's not really in the top 15 actors of anything, let's be real. Since Goodfellas, it's been kind of slim pickings. I think he was in No Escape.
He's in Dominic and Eugene.
Dominic and Eugene?
Oh, okay.
What the hell is that?
It was a movie from the late 80s.
Nope. Before my time.
Oh, okay.
He was in No Escape. I remember that.
Yeah, that one I don't remember.
He was a prisoner on an island. I think he was wrongfully accused, which is what they always are. It's in the future. And the only reason is because I remember the cover is a big picture of Ray Liotta on the VHS cover box at Network Video, and then you have this giant island, and that was it.
So I suppose the whole plot was in the title. There's no escape.
Correct. But there was escape.
Well, so then the title was a lie.
It wasn't a very good plot. It wasn't a very good title.
The title was so we could sue them for false advertising.
I think you could sue them for many reasons on that movie.
I could put them in my list of movies that need to be sued for lying in the title.
Along with?
Oh, The Never-Ending Story.
They did make a sequel.
Yeah, but it still ended. The Greatest Show on Earth definitely was not the greatest show anywhere.
That you know what? I hate to keep saying, but then seriously, I did see that about a year ago on TV. I got through an hour and a half, and it was still 2 more hours.
It was long. It was awful. I mean, the acting was horrible. I mean, I know it's not a time of special effects, but they attempted to do green screen just so they can stand in front of a lion's cage. I'm like, just stand in front of a lion's cage. I mean, is it that tough to run to the zoo with 2 cameras and a couple actors? I mean, oh.
Well, Mike, I did like that. It felt like the first infomercial because it was all about the circus. Ringham Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus. It's because I think they were helping.
Yeah, it was. They actually used the right circus. I don't remember who was all combined at the time, but it was definitely... Barnum and Bailey. I don't know if Ringling Brothers were with them at the time, but
and people say that was the worst Best Picture.
People being me.
Well, yes,
that was the worst movie to win the Best Picture Oscar, in my opinion.
And they put that up there with American Beauty as one of the worst ones to win.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I enjoyed American Beauty.
I mean, maybe if you thought something else should win, that's fine, but it's still not a bad movie.
Did Forrest Gump win Best Picture?
Forrest Gump won Best Picture.
Oh, God. Talk about another movie that does not age well.
Yeah, that doesn't age well. And, and the year that was up, I mean, that was against
Pulp Fiction,
Shawshank Redemption. I think one of the Spike Lee movies that I know got a lot of cred.
I thought you were going to say one of the Spice Girl movies.
Well,
I think there's only one.
There's only one, and that's an excellent movie by itself.
Oh, I do have that on my movie collection. It was a bad DVD gift as a joke. Shawshank, how that did not win that year amazes me because...
It didn't pick up any viewers or whatever until, I think till it was on TNT or TBS.
AMC has it now every other week.
Yeah, but I mean, it didn't have any following. It did nothing in the theater, and everyone, I mean, it's, I think, IMDb's top movie of all time. I think,
and I'm not exaggerating, I think I have seen that movie 100 times easy, from start to end. If you could put me on if I only could watch one movie forever and nothing else, it would be Shawshank Redemption. Story-wise, it was just well-written, beautiful from start to finish. Morgan Freeman was not an Irish guy like in the book, but he does make a comment about it. Because I think in the book he has red hair. And
yeah, he does have red hair in the book. And when he said, "Why do you call you red?" He's like, "Because of my red hair." In the book, it was true. In the movie, it was ironic.
That's right. But I seriously think every time that's on AMC, I think I watch at least half of it.
I thought, that if you could only watch one movie, I thought you'd pick something like Embrace of the Vampire or something.
Ooh, Embrace of Dinner Plates.
I mean, if you can only watch one, that's tough because you know, you want to get your primal urges out in some of these movies.
What is this, love talk?
And next on Dr. Drew.
Lonely love talk here. Embrace the Vampire is good. If you don't know what you're talking about, Google it, YouTube it. It doesn't matter. You know what? It's very well written. By well written, there is no plot. It's Alyssa Milano coming of age story. She goes from Commando starring role or backup to this, and it's about I think it was her first movie after she turned 18.
Oh, was she that young?
In Brace of the Vampire.
Brace of the Vampire.
I think she was 18 or 19, and it was like, well, I'm legal. Have a good day.
Well, that was it for the longest time. I can't watch that movie. I know Alyssa Milano. I remember her from
Who's the Boss?
Who's the Boss and Commando, and I'm like, she's a 12-year-old girl. Why do I want to watch that? And I just couldn't get the young Alyssa Milano out of my mind, and it really wasn't until I saw her in Charmed.
Oh, okay.
And I went, I'm like, oh, okay, a show about witches. Shannon Doherty's a pretty good bitch, so she could probably play a good witch. And start watching that, and I'm like, that's what everyone's talking about with Alyssa Milano. I get it now.
I think she was 19 when she did Embrace of the Vampire, and it literally was, I'm tired of being, was it Joseph Faustino? Or no, who's the son in it?
Joey Pinatoro or something?
I was going to say Wesley, but that was Belvedere. Wesley! Oh, my God. Thank you for Embrace of the Vampire. Check it out. It should be on YouTube. I was going to say...
So was Embrace of the Vampire actually one of our hidden gems to suggest?
You know what? It is. I was going to mention Enlist It, which is a half-hour comedy on Fox. They moved up to 9 p.m., and it's only 3 episodes in. Of course, I think after the first episode, they cut 2 of the stars because in the next 2 episodes, they're not in it.
The brothers?
No. Oh. Sorry. Let me explain what it is first. Yeah. It's 3 brothers. One just came back from Afghanistan. He was a decorated soldier. This is a comedy, mind you. And the reason he came back is because he basically hit his superior officer because he wasn't sending in reinforcements. So now he's basically taking care of this troop of army guys that are just taking care of the home, when the soldiers go off. They're taking care of the wives, with care packages, and basically they're the grunts of the, back home. And it is a comedy, even though what I'm saying is not sounding like it. But there's 2 big guys on it. There was one big black guy and one big white guy. And I hate to generalize it, but that's how you knew them. And they were hilarious on it. And then episode 2 came. They're not there. Episode 3 just showed. I was like, I don't think they're coming back.
Were they major characters?
They were part of his troop, his little army group.
Well, a lot of things change after a pilot to the second show, too, so you can't always count that. I mean, in the pilot of The Cosby Show, he had 4 kids, and then the next show he had 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
The oldest, who was away at school, wasn't actually there in the first, or they made a comment about, well, why do I have 4 kids? And it's like, because you don't want 5. And it's like, then the next episode they had 5.
Did he still have a bad sweater on?
He had a bad sweater on every episode.
And then he danced. I love the dancing. I think it was the show with the 5-minute intro, like credits, and it was just him dancing.
Oh,
I swear.
5 minutes. It's a 30-second intro.
I'm going to say 5 minutes.
It might have felt like 5 minutes watching him dance, but it's only like a 30-second intro. Your standard.
So, if you get a chance, Enlist It. It is funny. It's very dry humor. There's a little seriousness to it, too, but it is a comedy, but check it out. And then just a couple things here we need to get to. A couple sites helped us out by promoting us this past week. The first one was Al Norton's 2 TiVos to Paradise. He's on 411 Mania every Friday. He writes an article. If you like him on Facebook, I've followed him probably for 6-7 years at least. And he gives you updates about anything news related in terms of entertainment, and not the Paris Hilton, Britney Spears stuff. It's more TV and movie related.
The real entertainment, not the lives of the celebrities,
correct,
but the shows and the shows and products that they are putting out.
So check him out. Like I said, he does an article, but if you like him on Facebook, it's great. You get at least 6 messages a day which is not the negative spam. It's good stuff. The other thing is from Patricia Gligor. Saying that right? Gliger. Apologize, Pat. We used to work with her a long time ago, and ever since then, she basically retired and started making mystery books. And she promoted us and continues to promote us for the next week or so at least. Easy. Just been trying to get our name out there. She wrote Mixed Messages. It was her first novel in the Malone Mystery Series. She released a second one, Unfinished Business, in the same series. And they're both available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble's website.
And other fine retailers.
Good call. And then she also does have a third one coming out, I believe March 31st is what she just told us right before we went to air, called Desperate Deeds. And each book, they're part of a bigger mystery, or it's a mystery series, but each one can be read alone, so you don't need background on each one. You don't need to read each one. So check her books out, and we just want to thank those two for getting our podcast out there.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then next thing is top five.
We're looking at our top five, but before we start this week's top five, we had a complaint from last week's top five from one of our long-time listeners
of 1 week.
But we had John was upset that neither of us had mentioned Darth Vader or Emperor Palpatine as one of our top five villains in geek culturedom. And wanted to know why.
I apologize, John. Looking on it, you know what? He does make a good point. Darth Vader or Emperor Palpatine, I would say probably more Darth Vader.
I have reasons. I thought of both of them, and I have reasons that I did not put them on my list.
I'm a huge Star Wars geek, and I even forgot about Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine, so I do apologize for that. Looking back, they probably would have been number 4 or so on my list. That was just a slip of the mind right there. The only thing, I would maybe put Emperor Palpatine on it instead of Darth Vader, because Vader redeems himself.
Yes, that was the problem I had with Vader in the original trilogy. It's like, okay, he's the big bad, but then at the end, he's no longer villain. I mean, he did villainous things, but then he finds the light and is no longer a villain. And yeah, if you're going to be a villain, commit to it. He just didn't commit to it. I mean, the dark side just wasn't strong enough within him.
I think Darth Vader does not get on the list just because of one line from Phantom of the Menace. Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, no!
Two lines. Okay, the other line I was thinking about is, are you an angel? Oh, no. My God. I wanted to take a lightsaber to Anakin right there in Phantom Menace.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is the prequels are just out of my brain. I mean, if I take the prequels into account, then, yeah, there's no way they're coming anywhere close to my list of anything.
They're going to be out of Disney's brains, too. Don't worry. Yeah. I don't think Disney's going to really put them in as canon.
No, I mean, you kind of got to. That's what happened, but you don't need to ever really refer back to it.
Yeah, you don't address it. So, with that being said, I think I would still do Emperor Palpatine, just because he is pure evil. He has no redeeming qualities. He actually even looked good in the prequel movies. He was one of the lone bright spots. George Lucas was not able to tarnish his acting ability.
Like he tarnished others. And I mean, even like the great acting of Anthony Daniels as C-3PO, it's like that's a character that should never even been put in the prequels.
But it's all right, because Obi-Wan, I guess, forgot about these droids when he saw them again in Episode 4.
Yeah, I've never owned droids. Well, except maybe that one R2 unit that I flew around space with. But no, it wasn't really mine. He was just part of the collective.
Maybe his mind was wiped.
He did his own Jedi mind trick.
Guys, let's get rid of C-3PO's R2 memory. Let's wipe their minds. And Obi-Wan over there. Please do. Oh, my God. I could go on for days about George Lucas.
Yeah, we need to stop talking about the
Star Wars.
The Star
Damn
Wars.
you, John. John from Texas. So anyways, the top 5 television shows, or the top 5 this week is television shows that jumped the shark. Top 5.
That jumped the shark.
Jeff, do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
My number 5, it's got to be on the list because it's the reason Jump the Shark ever happened, is Happy Days.
Good call.
Have to put it on the list. I thought about not putting it on the list, but I'm like, we wouldn't even be talking Jump the Shark if Happy Days and Fonzie didn't actually jump a shark. And the more I thought about it, it's like, yeah, that is accurate. I mean, the show just... It took the focus away from, Richie and his friends and his home life and just threw everything at, Fonzie. And the show just...
spiraled out of control after that.
Spiraled out of control.
You made me... I laughed off Mike here because I remember, obviously... I was a little young when it first premiered, don't get me wrong. But seeing the repeats on Fox, Fox, local stations here, Channel 19 and all that when I was growing up, they replayed Happy Days all the time. And I do remember seeing that episode. And it makes me laugh seeing that visual in my mind every single time. The only other episode, and I don't know if this came out after the Jump the Shark moment or before, is when Fonzie became blind and he was feeling sorry for himself and he had to remake his motorcycle.
That was probably around the same time. Because I don't think it was real early, but it wasn't one of the later ones, when Fonzie's teaching, I don't think.
I don't think it was when he was teaching. I just remember him throwing, because in every sitcom in the 80s, 70s, whatever, when they have a handicap, they get mad and throw stuff, and he threw his tools. And then Darth Vader's back in again. But I don't know who came down and told him, hey, you need to do this yourself, and I'm not helping. And he built a bike blind. Oh, my God. Well, I'll do my... I feel like Jeff from last week. I have a notable mention. Okay. I got 2.
Go ahead.
This is not a top 5, but it's News Radio. One of my favorite sitcoms for the first 3 seasons, I think it was. It was on for 5. And the only reason it's not in my top 5 is because one of the stars died, and you can't do much about that, obviously. Phil Hartman dying, and then John Lovitz taking over. And when John Lovitz took over, it just sucked the comedy out of it. And it's not because... I don't think it was John Lovitz's fault. I think anybody that came in there was going to basically do, make the show go down. And the reason is because Phil Hartman was so good on it. So that's why it's not in my top 5, just because they couldn't do anything about it. It's not like Red Fox when they hired him when he was 80 and he died, shock, or 69 what we found out last week.
He died when he was 69, so he's probably hired when he was only 50. So.
So my number 5 is a little known show. It was on Showtime before Showtime became this juggernaut with TV shows. Huff, Huff, and Oliver Platt was in it. Hank Azaria. And I believe Paget Brewster, is that her name? Yeah, Paget Brewster.
Was she in that?
Yes.
Okay.
And Hank Azaria played Huff. He was a psychologist, and basically his life started spiraling out of control. The first season was hilarious, very well done, and then the final episode of season 1 is Oliver Platt, who played Huff's best friend on it, gets caught sleeping with Huff's mom. And it was Blythe Danner.
Okay.
And Huff's brother in it, who was in an insane asylum, which makes it, since he's a psychiatrist, all that stuff. And I don't even know how it happened, but the second season, I gave up after 5 episodes. It looked like a whole different writing staff. And the reason why it's on my top 5 is I know it's not a big show, but it was a great first season, one of the top comedies I saw in the first season, because comedies usually take a little bit longer to get their footing in TV being good. I thought it came out of the gate great, and it was just sad to see it just drop. So, what's your number 4, Jeff?
All right. My number 4 is Battlestar Galactica.
The new or old?
Oh, the original.
Oh.
The one from 1978.
Did that jump the shark the first episode?
No. Oh, no, it was good. The first year it came out, it was good. And, the problem was it was just too expensive. So, they canceled it, and then a year later brought it back as Galactica 80, where they discovered and found Earth. So, with Battlestar Galactica, they came to Earth, and then they were secretly protecting the Earth from the Cylon Raiders. And it was just like, for a show that, obviously there was something behind it for them to want to go ahead and, make the newer show from, the early 2000s or whatnot. 2004, I think, was when they first started. But, I mean, there was a following, and it was a good show. But then, Galactica 80 was just awful. And, I mean, granted, you were like 2 then or something.
Yes. When did it start? 81?
The show started in 78.
78?
And then Galactica 80 in the year 1980 was when they brought out the... So, but I had to put Battlestar Galactica on there because, that was one that... I've had discussions about this show with people and whatnot, and it made me remember how much I liked it as a child and how much I was upset with it when they brought it back.
By child, you mean 25?
I'm not that old.
My number 4, I don't know if you're going to disagree with me or not. Big Bang Theory. Season 4. Hi, I'm Sheldon, and this is all it's about. Big Bang, my wife and I, she actually was the one that told me that I would like it. I liked the first 3 seasons. And then they started doing the Steve Urkel trick of, Sheldon's popular. We're going to make everything about Sheldon. And now I cannot watch any episodes of that show. And that's a shame because Kelly Cuoco. There you go, Cuoco. I loved her on...
It's Cuoco, but...
Until she comes on the show, we're going to say it that way. I liked her on 8 Simple Rules with John Ritter, Moment of Silence.
John Ritter.
And
the last season of Charmed.
I never got into Charmed.
Yeah,
was she one of the witches?
She was the witch in training in the 8th season.
Oh.
Because when the 3 whatever they call them, the chosen ones or whatever, were trying to keep a low profile, they found another witch. Obviously, they brought her in to bring in some eye candy.
The new Oliver.
Yeah. And that's not even on my list
That's
either.
not on my list either.
I thought about all those shows that brought in the young, cute kid to try and save the ratings. Your Cosby shows and Brady Bunches and Different Strokes. And they all brought in the cute little kid. But usually when they do that, they've already jumped the shark. And that's why I avoided those shows on my list.
Kazoo in Flintstones.
Yeah, he wasn't a kid.
Well... He was close to it. He was an alien, but, still.
Yeah. That might show up later on my list.
Oh, well, never mind. And the reason why I didn't put a lot of them, my top 5 are, or in this case, bottom 5, are actually more recent. And the reason is, I didn't start caring about a lot of the TV shows. I liked Airwolf growing up, but let me tell you, that never jumped the shark because it started by jumping the shark. A-Team. Say what you will, it never jumped the shark because it wasn't a good one to begin with. So a lot of them, mine are a little bit more recent. And the ones with the kids that they brought kids in, I just didn't care about them. So them bringing a kid in. But Big Bang was mine. I enjoyed it. I even appreciated like the little things, like when they go to the comic book store, the most recent issues were in the background. They did change them out, and they probably still do. But that stuff was... always made me happy. But then, like I said, Sheldon, I don't have a problem with his character, but it's the same thing like a lot of comedies. You have the breakout role, and then it's like, we're just going to make it all about him. Family Matters was a great show until Steve Urkel.
It wasn't a great show.
No, it wasn't.
But I will disagree with you. I'm not going to say that Sheldon didn't become an emphasis. I think in recent seasons, he's not been as much of an emphasis. Because, I mean, the cast is expanded.
Correct.
You've got 7 main characters now with, Amy Farrah Fowler. Oh, she's great.
Is that Mayim?
Mayim Bialik, yeah. Anytime you can add Blossom to your cast, I mean, you have to do it.
Does she wear goofy hats?
She doesn't wear goofy hats, but she does wear eclectic clothing.
I will say... Just get a little personal here. My brother Doug is a huge Blossom fan, and let me tell you, I think he might have the whole collection on DVD. I'm just saying that and Hogan's Heroes. Hogan. On the tangent, let's make a comedy about Nazis 20 years after the war. Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, it's a prisoner of war camp, and it's a comedy.
What do you think?
What's your number 3?
My number 3 is another recent one. Apologize. Revolution.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm going to say I don't think it ever got off the ground, in my opinion.
Strap in here, kiddos. Let me explain this to you. I did not have DVR up until 2 years ago. I don't know why. Maybe I was too cheap to pay the $5 a month. Part of it is I didn't think I watched a lot of TV. I do once you have a kid. And once you had a kid, I needed to tape stuff because I was not going to watch it live. So Revolution and Arrow came out the same year. I told my wife I need to get DVR because of those two shows, because Revolution was on the same time as Castle, and I'm a huge Nathan Fillion, even though he was on Community this past week.
Greatest show ever.
Castle, it's a good show. And so I said, okay, I got to get DVR for this. The first season, it's been 10 years since the power went out. They found out that there were like microbes, parasites, whatever, that the government was building or was making organic or biologically. That's what killed all the electricity, killed power engines, it killed everything, cars, you know. But it took them a long time, the writers I'm talking about, to realize, hey, steam engine would still work. So, anyways, loved the first season. It was kind of weighing on me a little bit at the end. I was like, okay, but they were killing off main characters, and I'm not going to say spoilers because it's been over a year, so screw that. I'm just going to say, like, the one kid that they spent the whole season searching for, who was captured by Monroe, the big bad guy, they get him. 3 episodes later, he gets killed off. So one of the there's a couple of big stars that were killed off. I liked it for being on network TV on NBC. They took some chances. Season 2, let's see. Episode 1, right off the bat, Aaron, the guy that ran the Google type company before the electricity went off, gets killed. He's sliced up by a sword. Fucking lightning bugs bring him back to life. And obviously there's more to the mythos of these lightning bugs, but he's dead for 5 minutes or 3 hours, I think they say in the show, and the last scene of episode 1 is he opens his eyes, and these fucking lightning bugs are floating all around. And you know what? Don't write on the Facebook that I was wrong that it's not lightning bugs, because I gave up after 3 more episodes.
Yeah, my jaw dropped when he said lightning bugs brought him back to life, because I gave up after like 6 episodes of Revolution. I mean, I had a problem with... when I watch my shows, I want them to progress. And then I was watching a show, and they had this big, elaborate plot, and then halfway through the show, they decided, we have to stop our big, elaborate plot, and then they were back to where they were before the episode even began. And I was like...
that doesn't surprise me.
I'm like, I can't watch this. I at least want the show to progress every episode. And if they're just throwing in fillers now... I don't want to see what's going to happen.
The problem, like the end of the last season, the season finale, they launched nuclear weapons, and you find out that at the beginning of season 2, the nuclear weapons actually, the missiles landed in Philadelphia, Atlanta. It actually killed everybody, which was kind of surprising. And then Aaron comes back. Oh, dear God.
By lightning bug.
And I think there is something there, obviously, because whatever they used, I don't know. He's getting like a second power. He's seeing things. I don't know. And the only reason it's up there as high as number 3 is because I had such high hopes for that show, and it just came crashing down. Your number 3, Jeff.
Number 3, I'm still going back old school. My number 3 is Dallas.
Ooh.
Not necessarily I was a great fan of Dallas, but what Dallas did was originally it made the cliffhanger. Who shot JR? Everybody wanted to know. It's all everybody talked about for one summer. And so everybody was using the cliffhanger to go ahead and, they'll end their seasons, and cliffhangers were it. And then Dallas went ahead and killed the cliffhanger with the whole Bobby in the shower when he was supposed to be dead for a year. And then the whole previous season was a dream.
Which is a pretty impressive dream.
Yeah, an entire season that she's dreaming about everybody on the... Yeah, I mean, it was just ridiculous. And not only, did that jump the shark for Dallas, I think it jumped the shark for cliffhangers. few and far between. I know every show still tries to do it, but it's just a gimmick anymore, and there's very few that get it right. And I think, that just went to show how wrong it can go.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that one bit. I think the other thing that killed cliffhangers is the mid-season finale. Oh my god, if I hear another commercial for, we're 8 episodes in, here's the mid-season finale. What the hell is that?
Hey, we're coming up on Christmas where we'll be gone for a month, so we'll make you dangle.
On the positive, with Patrick Duffy in Dallas, he did go on to do Step by Step.
Yes, Step by Step. Thank you.
What's your number 2, Jeff?
My number 2, I got 2 words for you. Scrappy Doo.
I will agree with you on that.
Scooby-Doo. Everybody, at least my generation's favorite cartoon. Scooby-Doo was the best. And then they brought in Scrappy fucking Doo. I mean, I don't understand how kids who grew up after Scrappy-Doo was introduced can even function properly in society. I mean, I was also considering the Flintstones here with the Great Gazoo. I'm like, okay, this is where my cartoons will go. I thought Transformers, because, when they went back to...
Dinosaurs?
No, actually, the dinosaurs weren't as bad as when they, left Earth and went back to whatever their home planet is.
GoBotland?
GoBotland, yeah. Now, when they went back to... it's killing me that I forgot the name of their planet.
Didn't it start with an A or something? No. That's the Autobots. Never mind. Yeah. Well, Scrappy-Doo was the bad guy in the live-action movie.
That was true, and I was happy to see them do that.
I actually enjoyed that.
Because Scrappy-Doo is just awful. That's why I put Scooby-Doo over the other cartoons that I was thinking, is because Scrappy fucking Doo.
I forgot all about Scrappy-Doo for a reason.
For a reason.
My other recent one is number 2, How I Met Your Mother. Another one. Jeff, I think, will disagree, but after, I don't even know what season, I think it was when Lily and Marshall were trying for a baby, and they bought the apartment next to the sewage plant.
Go East Side Rebecca?
Yes, thank you. And at that point, I was like, I don't care if Ted meets the wife. I don't care anymore. I thought Ted was annoying. Barney was still funny. Don't get me wrong. Robin is Robin. I like her. Maria Hill. But it just, for some reason, I just got tired of it. The slap bet was awesome. And I enjoyed it for 4 or 5 seasons. And what are they, season 8 now, the final season?
It's season 8, final season now.
I think we gave up about end of season 5. And it's bad when, you really don't care about a show when you completely forget that it's on TV, and you miss like 6 episodes. You're like, oh yeah, I forgot that was even on. Yeah. That was before DVR for me.
Yeah. Now, I won't disagree with you that the quality on How I Met Your Mother slipped probably about the time you think it did. I will say they're pulling out all the stops for their last season, and this season is better than the previous 2 or 3. It does have some missteps. Not every episode was good, or there are some storylines that were going on in this season. But, I mean, I don't know if you've heard what's this season.
I have heard some. I do read the spoilers online a little bit.
The whole season takes place over the one weekend of Robin and Barney's
which I thought
marriage.
Was clever.
And it's clever. And, of course, they do all their flashbacks and flash forwards and other things throughout, what's happening over the weekend. So it doesn't feel like they're... How is all this happening in one weekend? They do. I think they're doing a decent job this season. But on the other hand, they have slipped, and I can understand why someone would stop watching them.
And my number 1.
I see what your number 1 is, and it's my number 1 too.
And the reason is, it goes back to Huff. Not literally, but Huff was, like I said, one of my favorite comedies in the first season, comedy drama. This one was one of my favorite shows when it came out, and it just died. Heroes.
Yes, Heroes. That is my number 1 also.
I had now part of it was the writer's strike. I think killed it.
The problem was the writer's strike came when they were already suffering, and they couldn't get themselves out. The writer's strike came after everyone was getting angry at the way the story was progressing.
And my issue, I just thought, no. In Heroes, I mean, the biggest thing I had was that they did not let the epidemic win. Like, they had the whole story, and I thought, you know what? If you're going to do this, go balls to the wall and let Earth lose, like let the humans lose, and start the show, because basically there was a disease that was out there, an epidemic that was going to be released onto the world. I think it was humans were just going to die, or the superheroes going to live, or
I don't remember.
And basically they had a vision of the future that it actually happened. The epidemic got, or the disease got out and killed 95% of the people, I think it was, or something.
It wasn't a vision. Peter Petrelli took Hero's time traveling power. He jumped to the future after the epidemic won with his Irish girlfriend who he met when he had amnesia.
Which is funny because he
left her there.
Yeah, he left her in the future.
That's about when the writer's strike. He jumped to the future. The epidemic came. He came back to the past without her. So when they wrote her off, I thought at least close that storyline.
Nope, she's in hell.
Yep.
Have a good day. And that was my issue, is that they didn't do that. They didn't have the guts to do it. Yeah. And the other thing was, I think was an issue, was bringing Sylar back.
Oh yeah, he should have at least been dead the entire second season.
Yes.
I mean, the problem I have was they either fell in love with the actors who played these characters, or they signed them to multi-year commitments and they had to use them. I'm not sure what. But they should have flipped through. They should have had turnover in characters. The first season, you had all these characters for a reason. All these characters were ended up being intertied together.
Save the cheerleader.
Yeah, save the cheerleader, save the world, And everybody had a part to play. And when they got to the end of the season, everybody played their part. And then now it's like, okay, so now what? The same people have to then play parts again, and it's like, oh, you should be bringing new people in, killing people off, letting people just retire. I mean, as much as he was a great a character in the first season, they should have got rid of horned rim glasses for the second season. I mean, they didn't need them. And the cheerleader, they couldn't figure out what to do, and I mean, I know everyone wanted Hayden Panettiere to be on the show, but they didn't know what to do with her character. And then the characters they were actually getting some momentum behind, it just kind of fell apart. Like you said, they brought back Sylar, and so he's traveling through Mexico for half the season.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And that was... the problem was they also let Sylar traveled through Mexico for half a season. Hero went into the past and was gone for half a season. And so everybody was doing their own thing. It was something that should have been a two show arc, was a 12 show arc.
And you could do a top 5 of bad ideas just on Heroes.
Yes.
You could do too much time travel.
Yes.
Way too much time travel. Hero got annoying.
Yes.
His sidekick became superpower.
When they get that was what because I tried to. I'm like, okay, after the writer's strike, I'm like, okay, now they'll come back. They'll fix it. They're going to fix it. And they came back and gave Ando superpowers.
Yeah. And was season 2 also when they were capturing the heroes?
I think that might have been 3.
And I actually liked some of that, but you couldn't put the genie back in the bottle. I mean, everything was spiraling out of control. And
or maybe it was the second half of season 2. I'm trying to remember.
I think it might have been second half, because Tim Kring, I think it is, who created it, he said originally that he wanted new people every season. He wanted new heroes, which on paper sounds great. The problem is you get so attached to these guys. Yeah. You figure NBC's like, oh, we can't get rid of these guys. I mean, they're popular. It's like, yes, you could.
You can get rid of some. I mean, keep some of them around. Yeah. I mean, just do it by the what I like to call the soap opera rule. Like soap opera, they'll have a story arc for one person, and then another story arc will start for another person. So when the first story arc ends, you're already invested in the second story arc, and they'll have that for about a bunch of different stories going on. So I mean, it's like, okay, we're going to say, okay, well, people liked Hero. We'll see what Hero and we'll say Hero and Cheerleader will have some story together, and then in that story they'll meet other people. Mm-hmm. And then somebody else will have a story, but then they'll disappear after something. Their story will be real short, but the people they interacted with, now their story continues, and then they start interacting. But, they just had to force the same characters to do stuff that the characters probably wouldn't do just to keep the show going.
And I tried, I think it was season 3 when I officially quit. Season 4, I think they only had 4 seasons, right?
I couldn't even remember if it was 4.
Because 4, they did the carnival.
Okay.
That was coming in town. And I watched I got back into it, and I watched the first 2 episodes, and it was still the same problem. You had too many of the same issues, and, the cheerleader was in college with her roommate.
Yeah.
I think that was the episode of the season that they made a big deal about the lesbian kiss.
I didn't even remember that.
Yeah, and it was like, really? This is what we've resorted to is lesbian kissing? I mean, no offense, but this is what you've resorted to.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, that was number 1 just because I've never seen a show hit rock bottom so quick.
Yes, I agree. It was four seasons, and the 4th season, last season was the Carnival, which I thought was better than 2 and 3. But like 3? You said, that's I'm trying to remember what happened in 3. I remember, God, they were. Was that the one where they killed Nathan and then convinced Siler that he was Nathan? Used the mind power.
That's right.
So
yep.
And I mean that's when I thought, okay, this is that's what I really hated. But yeah, second season killed it because they didn't know what to do with what they already had, and they didn't know to let go of certain things.
Well, they also had. Remember, NBC had. Was it 22 episodes of Heroes? And then I think it was in the summertime, they were going to do another show of Heroes, but it was 6 episodes. Yeah. They had Kevin Smith directing one. I think Eli Roth, maybe.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that one, but I knew Kevin Smith. And they were going to introduce 6 new characters. And they would be in the next season. And then once Heroes started tanking, I think it was part of the writer's strike too, they stopped it. So any chance of new heroes are out the door. So George Takei was in it.
Yeah, George Takei was great in it.
Oh my!
But so Heroes is our unanimous number 1 show that jumped the shark.
I really can't think of another show, obviously, because it's my number 1 that fell that quick. I really can't.
Yeah, neither can I. I had to put them number 1. Matter of fact, when you suggested this topic, I'm like, well, I know Heroes will be number 1. As much as I loved the show, and I tried to give it the benefit of the doubt through 3 seasons worth of pain because I really enjoyed that first season.
And people that bitch about S.H.I.E.L.D., or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., go back and watch Heroes Season 2. You're going to be thankful for S.H.I.E.L.D. And that was also a time when you didn't have a superhero really movies.
Yeah,
so you were grasping for anything on TV.
Yeah. The superhero and the geek culture was, it was being embraced by the mainstream. Mm-hmm. And then, they jumped.
I don't even care if they have costumes on. I don't care. Just put something on that was Heroes related.
Just put something on.
Okay, I think that about wraps up our show. The number 12 bad idea in history of bad ideas is poking a dead body with a stick.
Yeah, especially when you're being chased by zombies or other deadly creatures, and there's a dead body lying in the creek bed. You don't
do not poke it.
Do not poke the body. Don't go after the body and see. It's dead. We can tell it's dead. You don't need to poke it to make sure, because only bad things will happen.
If you don't see him breathing, he's dead.
He's only face down in the water for as long as you've seen him. Let him lie.
I think that will do it for another episode. Roger says goodbye.
Goodbye.